What if I told you that everything happening in your life has a reason? That within suffering lies the seed of awakening? That peace is not found in the outside world, but in the way you perceive life? Join me on a journey to uncover the profound and simple truths left to us by the Buddha, so we may live with awareness, gentleness, and inner freedom. Nothing is random. Everything has a deeper reason. Everything that happens is part of a vast tapestry of interdependent causes, and though we may not see the full picture, every single thread continues weaving our life with profound order. When suffering knocks, the question arises. Everyone has asked, "Why me?" when facing loss or failure. In those moments, our minds often rebel, searching for a reason. But from a Buddhist perspective, nothing happens by chance. Everything is the result of causes and conditions, a convergence of countless factors. This view doesn't evoke fear. On the contrary, it opens the door to inner freedom. When we understand that we are the ones planting seeds, we stop seeing ourselves as victims and begin to recognize ourselves as co-creators of our lives. Dependent origination, the invisible map of life. Buddhism teaches the law of pratitya samutpada, dependent origination. All phenomena arise from conditions. Just as a flower needs soil, water, and sunlight, our lives are shaped by a myriad of factors, some visible, some hidden deep within the unconscious or far past. Understanding this helps us resist less. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening?" we begin to observe, "What is this moment inviting me to transform?" Karma, transformation from within. The law of karma isn't about reward or punishment. It is a natural principle. You reap what you sow. Every action, word, and thought is a seed, and it is our mind and intention that shape the reality we live in. When we live with anger, life becomes heavy. When we cultivate compassion and understanding, the world softens. Karma doesn't require belief. It operates like gravity, but understanding it empowers us to live with greater mindfulness and responsibility. Adversity as a disguised teacher. Suffering doesn't arrive to punish. It comes to awaken. A failure may open a new path. A loss may teach us to value and let go. If we observe closely, we'll see that our deepest wounds often became turning points of transformation. Instead of asking why, we can ask, "What is this moment asking me to become?" Then adversity transforms into a silent teacher. Coincidence or ripened conditions. Life presents moments of coincidence that feel full of meaning. Meeting the right person at the right time, reading the right book just when needed. Buddhism sees these not as accidents, but as fruits of wholesome karma. When causes align, the effect naturally appears. From this view, we live with deeper gratitude and stop dismissing small things. Every moment is a seed. Understanding that nothing is random allows us to release resistance and fear and to live more intentionally. Every word and thought today is a seed for the future. Life is not orchestrated by fate. It is shaped by our awareness and choices. When awakened, we realize nothing is wrong, no one is excess, everything has its place, and we can choose to live each moment with meaning, purpose, and freedom. Impermanence, Anicca, the key to freedom from suffering. Impermanence is the only unchanging truth in this life. Whoever realizes this will find peace amidst storms and endless change. The mystery within every change. Being born, growing up, happiness, sorrow, everything we go through in life carries the imprint of impermanence. We often wish that happy moments would last forever and hope to escape sadness. Yet life continues according to the law of impermanence, a truth set forth long ago. Anicca, the impermanence of all things. In Buddhism, impermanence, Anicca, is one of the three marks of all phenomena. Everything arises and passes away in every moment. In our youth, we may immerse ourselves in fantasies of permanence, eternal love, enduring success, unfading beauty. But over time, everything changes. To understand impermanence is not to become pessimistic, but to be reminded to cherish each present moment and to let go gracefully when something has passed. Suffering arises from resistance. At the root of suffering lies our resistance to impermanence. We want to hold on to happy moments and fight against unpleasant change. This resistance itself gives rise to pain. The wise understand, the only thing that never changes is change itself. When we stop resisting and learn to flow with the current of life, we begin to find emptiness, lightness, and peace, even in the heart of the storm. Lesson from nature. Look at a river. It always flows, constantly changing its shape. It does not cling or fear transformation. Or take the trees, sun in the forest. In autumn they shed their leaves. In spring they sprout anew. We too are part of nature, and we must learn to change with the same lightness, rhythm, and flexibility. Letting go and lightness in daily life. Letting go does not mean giving up on love or dreams. It means releasing our attachment and the illusion of permanence. When we love someone, we do so with the awareness that they are changing every day. When we live, we walk alongside change without fear. Impermanence, the source of freedom. When we realize impermanence, we become less attached and less afraid. We savor what we have with deep gratitude, and we face loss with composure, saying, this too is changing, and it shall pass. Living with the rhythm of impermanence. To accept impermanence is not despair, but to sing a song that celebrates the miraculous rhythm of life. Every sorrow, every joy, every high and low, no matter how small or grand, are waves on the infinite river of human experience. When we stop resisting, stop clinging, and surrender ourselves to the flowing rhythm of change, that is when we become truly free. Karma. Actions are seeds for the future. Every thought is a seed. Every word is an arrow. Every action is a mark upon the unseen, and all of them return to us like echoes in a deep mountain canyon. Everything returns to its root. Life is not a string of random events. In Buddhist thought, everything that happens is the result of seeds previously planted, whether in this life or another. Actions, words, and even thoughts never vanish. They create a stream of energy that flows silently, shaping the reality of our lives. This is the law of karma, an objective, unbiased principle. No one rewards or punishes us. And this is precisely why understanding karma means understanding ourselves. Karma is not fate. Karma does not mean resignation. While the present may be the result of the past, the present is also the seed of the future. Every choice, every response we make today opens a new path. Like a farmer who chooses what seeds to plant, we too can shape our destiny with mindfulness in the present moment. The three roots of karma: body, speech, mind. Buddhism teaches that karma is created through three channels. Body, actions. Acts of kindness or cruelty leave visible traces. Speech, words. A loving word can uplift, while a harsh one may destroy. Mind, thoughts. Thoughts also create karma. They are the roots of speech and action. This is why mental cultivation, tutam, is essential. Living with mindfulness helps us see clearly what kind of seeds we are planting into the soil of our lives. The mind as soil, thoughts as seeds. Our mind is like a field, and every thought is a seed. If we sow seeds of compassion and patience, we will grow gardens of peace. If we sow seeds of anger and jealousy, we will only harvest thorns. We cannot live without planting seeds. The only question is, What kind of seeds are we choosing? Why do the unkind thrive and the kind suffer? Many people ask, why do bad people prosper while good people suffer? The answer lies in timing. Different seeds require different conditions and durations to sprout. Karma may not ripen immediately, but it always ripens in due time. Be patient in planting good seeds. One day, the flowers will bloom. Intention, the invisible force behind karma. Not only actions, but the intention behind them, shapes karma most deeply. Doing good out of selflessness is very different from doing it for praise. A pure intention is the root of wholesome karma. Collective karma and communal impact. Karma isn't just individual. Communities and societies create karma too. A culture of hatred breeds violence and insecurity. But if each person plants just a small seed of kindness, the world will grow warmer and more peaceful. We don't live in isolation. Karma connects all of us. Can karma be transformed? Yes, it can. Through mindfulness and wholesome action, we can redirect the flow of karma. There is no need to wait for another life. Every moment of awareness is a new beginning. Practicing mindfulness to master karma. Mindfulness helps us recognize what we are doing, thinking, and saying. When we notice anger, we can pause. When we feel the urge to speak harmfully, we can choose silence. Mindfulness is the mirror that reflects karma even while it is still in seed form. You are the author of your future. Karma does not bind us. It reminds us that everything begins within. When we live with mindfulness, compassion, and understanding, every action today becomes a seed for a better tomorrow. We cannot control all circumstances, but we can choose how we live and what seeds we sow. And one day, looking back, we will realize there was no magic, only the quiet blossoming of seeds of goodness planted with love. Attachment, the deep root of suffering and the art of letting go. It is not love that causes suffering. It is the desire to hold on to what cannot be held. When we hold on too tightly, have you ever held on to something so tightly that it eventually hurt you? A relationship that has ended, an opportunity long gone, a beautiful memory you couldn't release. Some of the deepest suffering in our lives, whether in love, career, or self-worth, often share a single root: attachment. In Buddhist teachings, attachment, tanha, craving, is one of the primary causes of suffering. Because everything is impermanent, anything we cling to will eventually change or disappear. And the tighter we hold on, the more it hurts when it does. What is attachment? Attachment goes beyond liking or desiring something. It is an emotional dependency, where we rely on something or someone to feel secure, happy, or loved. We no longer simply enjoy it. We merge our identity with it, and when it's gone, we feel lost, broken, or empty. Loving someone is natural, but when we treat that person as our only source of happiness, as if our very existence depends on them, that love becomes attachment. And when the relationship ends, we don't just feel grief, we feel shattered. Why does attachment lead to suffering? Because nothing lasts. People change, emotions shift, beauty fades, circumstances evolve. But our minds desperately want to freeze what we love and push away what we fear. This resistance to the nature of reality is what causes pain. Attachment breeds fear, fear of loss, fear of change, fear of being alone. It binds us to the past or to future fantasies. When reality doesn't match our expectations, we suffer, not because of what happens, but because of our refusal to let go. The subtle forms of attachment doesn't only bind us to people or possessions. It also manifests in attachment to opinions, needing others to agree with us. Attachment to self-image, fearing judgment, fearing failure. Attachment to emotions, clinging to happiness, avoiding discomfort. Attachment often disguises itself as love, righteousness, or idealism. But if we look deeply, it's often fueled by fear and the need to control. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. Many people mistake letting go for giving up or not caring. But in Buddhism, letting go does not mean severing bonds. It means loving without possession, committing without clinging. We can still love someone without needing them to stay forever. We can give our best to something without needing it to succeed. We can live fully, yet remain open to change. Letting go is inner freedom, a peace that doesn't depend on outer conditions. What does non-attached love look like? A love free of attachment is a love that does not try to control or possess, does not demand the other to fulfill our needs or ideals, respects the other's growth, freedom, and changes. Such love is not weak. It requires great emotional maturity and spiritual strength, but only love without grasping can truly nourish without harming. How can we let go? Recognize the attachment. What are you afraid to lose? Ask yourself, if this disappeared, would I still be whole? Practice mindfulness. Watch how clinging shows up in thoughts, words, and behavior. Meditate on impermanence. All things change. Let this truth soften your grip. Replace attachment with gratitude. Be thankful for what was, even if it's gone. What happens when we let go? Relief, as if placing down a heavy burden you didn't know you were carrying. Freedom, not being held hostage by conditions or expectations. Peace, rooted in the present, untouched by fear. Growth, discovering that your happiness comes from within. Unbound love is light. Attachment is natural, but letting go is the path of the awakened. When we release our grip, we don't lose. We gain freedom, clarity, and a deeper, unconditional love. The Buddha did not teach us to give up on life. He taught us to give up clinging, so we could live more freely, more fully, and more lovingly. Everything we've ever loved, lost, or feared can become a teacher. If we dare to look deeply, suffering leads us back to wisdom. And from that place we learn to love without grasping, to live without chains, and to walk through life with an open, fearless heart. Acceptance, the wisdom of flowing with life. Peace doesn't come from life going our way. It comes when we learn to go with life as it is. When things don't go as we hoped, life often lets us down. Plans fall apart. People we trust leave. What once felt certain becomes unfamiliar. In such moments, we tend to resist, deny, blame, grow angry or weary. But resistance only drains us. Buddhism teaches that to ease suffering, we must learn acceptance, not as surrender, but as the wise and compassionate recognition of what is. Acceptance is not resignation. Many mistake acceptance for passivity or weakness. But in Buddhism, acceptance is a conscious, powerful act. It means we stop demanding reality to be different and instead see it clearly, just as it is. Acceptance does not prevent us from acting. It allows us to act from a place of calm and clarity rather than from fear or rage. Why resistance causes suffering? When life doesn't match our expectations, the mind resists. This can't be happening, or it shouldn't be this way. This creates a gap between us and reality, a crack where anxiety, stress, and frustration slip in. Reality doesn't change by our refusal to accept it, but our suffering deepens as long as our minds are in conflict with what is. When we let go of resistance, we begin to see more clearly, feel more deeply, and act more wisely. The Farmer and the Horse, a Zen parable. A well-known Zen story tells of a farmer whose horse ran away. Neighbors exclaimed, "What bad luck!" But the farmer calmly replied, "Who knows if it's good or bad?" Days later, the horse returned with a herd of wild horses. "Wonderful news," said the neighbors. "Who knows?" replied the farmer. His son tried to tame a wild horse, fell, and broke his leg. Terrible misfortune, they said. The farmer, again, who knows? Soon after, the army came to conscript young men, but spared his son due to the injury. Each event held two sides. The farmer's equanimity and acceptance allowed him to remain peaceful through all of life's changes. Acceptance doesn't mean you can't change things. Acceptance means acknowledging what is true right now. If we can change something, we still should, but with wisdom, not reactivity. It helps us know when to act, when to pause, and when to release. Acceptance brings balance between effort and surrender, accepting others as they are. Much of our relationship suffering stems from trying to change other people, wanting them to behave, speak, or love the way we imagine. But everyone has their own history, process, and evolution. To accept others is not to enable harmful behavior, but to stop expecting them to be someone else in order for us to feel at peace. This opens the door to deeper understanding and true compassion, accepting ourselves. The hardest person to accept may be ourselves. We blame our mistakes, criticize our imperfections, and wish we were different. But self-acceptance is not giving up on growth. It's ending the war within. From that place of kindness, we gain the strength to transform in healthy, lasting ways. Practicing acceptance. Pause and observe. When you suffer, ask, "What am I resisting?" Breathe deeply. Your breath calms the storm and brings you back to now. Acknowledge feelings. Don't suppress or over-identify with emotions. Just see them. Let go of expectations. Stop demanding that life be different. Just meet it where it is. Respond, don't react. After accepting, you can act with grounded wisdom. The gifts of acceptance. Inner peace, no longer fighting against life. Flexibility, greater adaptability in changing conditions. Deeper love, when we stop needing others to fit our mold. Emotional freedom, liberation from control and judgment. Yielding to move forward. Acceptance is not giving up. It is yielding in order to go further, like water flowing around rocks, soft but unstoppable, like bamboo bending in the wind, yet rising tall again. With acceptance, we no longer feel like victims of life. We become conscious companions of it, discerning when to hold, when to release, when to pause, when to act. In that space of acceptance, there is wisdom, compassion, and above all, a freedom that no circumstance can take away. Hidden lessons, finding meaning in adversity. No suffering is meaningless. In the cracks of our wounds, the light of understanding begins to shine through. When pain calls us back to ourselves. Sometimes life spins out of control. Loss, failure, illness, betrayal. These moments make us cry out, "Why me?" We blame, we complain, and we desperately look for a way to escape the pain. But through the lens of Buddhism, adversity doesn't come to punish. It comes as a lesson, perhaps the most important, to awaken something within us that comfort never could. Nothing happens without a cause. According to the laws of karma and dependent origination, everything that happens has a cause. The suffering we feel today may be the result of past actions, beliefs, or choices, but it is not destiny. It is an invitation. Adversity doesn't push us into darkness. It invites us to turn inward, to return to the part of ourselves we may have long abandoned. The butterfly and the cocoon. A man once saw a butterfly struggling to emerge from its cocoon. Out of pity, he gently cut the cocoon open. But because the butterfly hadn't struggled on its own, its wings remained underdeveloped. It could never fly. In the same way, suffering is often necessary for strength to form. If life removes all obstacles for us, we may miss the chance to build the inner resilience and clarity we truly need. Every adversity carries a message. A broken relationship may teach us self-respect. A failed career may reveal we're on the wrong path. A health scare may wake us up to care for body and mind. If we view adversity as disaster, we grow bitter. But if we see it as a mirror reflecting what's within, we begin to learn and mature. Observing emotions without becoming them. Pain often brings intense emotions. Sadness, anger, despair. But as the Buddha taught, emotions are temporary, not who we are. Through meditation and mindfulness, we learn to observe our pain rather than be consumed by it. Ask yourself, what is this pain pointing to inside me? What must I let go of, forgive, or understand? In that quiet reflection, transformation begins. Don't compare, don't judge. Many people say, others don't suffer like I do, but comparison only deepens our isolation. Everyone walks a unique path, learns unique lessons, and often those who suffer most deeply are those who are growing the most profoundly. Instead of asking, why me? Try asking, what am I meant to learn from this? Turning adversity into a spiritual path. Throughout Buddhist history and many spiritual traditions, those who have walked through darkness are often those who shine the brightest. They didn't avoid suffering. They used it as fuel for awakening. When we slow down, reflect, and touch our pain with mindfulness and compassion, a door opens. From suffering to wisdom, from breakdown to breakthrough. Practices to grow through difficulty. Breathe slowly, come back to your body. When the pain is too much, just return to your breath. Let it anchor you in the present. Write it out. Don't suppress. Let your feelings flow onto paper. Writing is a powerful healing stream. Seek perspective from a wise friend or teacher. Another's insight may help you see your way forward. Meditate on impermanence. Everything passes. Remind yourself, this too shall pass. Practice gratitude for adversity. When you're ready, look back and thank the hardships that helped you grow. Light within the darkness. Adversity is part of life, like winter is part of the seasons. We can't stop the wind, but we can learn to steer our sail. Each challenge, each heartbreak is a chance to return home, to see clearly, and to be reborn. Looking back, we may realize it was in our darkest hours that the seeds of wisdom first began to sprout. And what once broke us can become our greatest strength, like the stillness at the ocean's depths, holding up the surface waves. Suffering is never meaningless. It is the lever for our deepest transformation. Mindfulness, the art of living fully in the present. The past is a shadow, the future an illusion. Only the present moment is where life truly happens. Where are you really? The body is here, but the mind is elsewhere. That's the common state of modern humans. We eat without tasting, walk without feeling, speak without truly listening. We live in memories and expectations, while the present, the only moment where life unfolds, is ignored. In Buddhism, this quality of full presence is called mindfulness, sati, a way of living, a master key that brings us back to the sacredness of each moment. What is mindfulness? Mindfulness is being wholly present. It's when body, mind, and awareness unite in the now. It's when we see clearly what is happening without judgment, resistance, or distraction. It might look like knowing the breath going in and out, recognizing an emotion as it rises, feeling your foot touch the ground as you walk. Mindfulness isn't forced concentration, but a relaxed, loving awareness. Why is mindfulness so important? Because suffering arises when we live outside the present. We worry about a future that hasn't arrived. We regret a past we can't change. We're caught in mental stories that aren't real. When we return to the now, the mind settles. In this presence, emotions are acknowledged, thoughts are seen clearly, and life becomes illuminated. Practicing mindfulness in daily life. Mindful breathing. Inhale, know you're inhaling. Exhale, know you're exhaling. Breath connects body and mind. Mindful eating. Taste the food, chew slowly, feel gratitude. No multitasking, walking meditation. Walk with awareness, feeling each step fully. Deep listening and mindful speech. Listen without preparing your response. Speak with compassion and intention, pausing during the day. Even a single minute of awareness can refresh the stream of consciousness. Mindfulness with difficult emotions. Mindfulness isn't only for peaceful moments. It's especially essential when negative emotions arise. Anger, sadness, jealousy, fear. Instead of being ruled by them, acknowledge, this is anger. Don't identify. Say, I am feeling angry, not I am an angry person. Breathe and stay with it until it softens like a storm passing over a quiet lake. Mindfulness breaks the cycle of suffering. Most suffering comes not from events, but from our habitual unconscious reactions. A single careless word, a misunderstood message, a glance, all can trigger old wounds if we are not mindful. With awareness, we create a pause between stimulus and response. In that space, we gain the freedom to choose whether to repeat old patterns or open a new path. Mindfulness is not theory. Mindfulness is not a lofty idea. It's eminently practical. It's the silence in a cup of tea, the gentleness in tying shoelaces, the joy in listening to the rain with a calm heart. Living mindfully, we discover happiness is not distant. It's nestled in life's most ordinary moments. Coming home, life has been waiting. Life is not in the plans. It is unfolding right here, right now. Every moment is a miracle if we are present enough to meet it. Mindfulness is a return from distraction, worry, ambition, back to your own beating heart. And only then do you truly begin to live. The present moment is home. In the sound of a bell, a falling leaf, a loved one's laughter, in the fragrance of a warm meal, in each breath, there is life. Mindfulness does not promise a pain-free life, but it does promise this. If you are truly present in each moment, you will discover peace, not in the future, but here and now. Transforming the mind from suffering to awakening. It is not the world that must change for us to be happy, but our mind that must awaken to see the world with understanding. Where suffering begins and awakening is born. The human mind is the source of all emotions, behaviors, and suffering, but it is also the very place where peace, compassion, and enlightenment arise. Buddhism doesn't seek to fix the world outside, but to show us that all true transformation begins within. Like a mirror covered in dust, the mind's true clarity is often hidden, but its nature is still pure. When we clean the dust with mindfulness, compassion, and wisdom, the mind begins to reflect reality as it truly is, and awakening begins. The mind is the root of suffering and liberation. The Buddha said, "The mind precedes all things." Every action, word, and thought begins in the mind. A person living in hatred sees a world full of threats. One who lives in love sees warmth and connection. So if we want to change our life, we don't need to first change the world. We begin by transforming the mind. Transformation does not mean erasing emotions. Many believe that spiritual practice means getting rid of negative emotions, but Buddhism teaches that transformation comes from recognition, understanding, and release, not suppression. When angry, know you are angry. When sad, allow yourself to feel the sorrow. When anxious, sit with it, breathe, and look deeply. When illuminated by mindfulness, emotions become allies instead of enemies. Recognizing ignorance, the root of the cycle. In Buddhist teaching, ignorance, avidya, is the first cause of all suffering. It's the failure to see things as they truly are, to mistake the impermanent for permanent, to identify with fleeting emotions and ego, to not see the interdependent nature of life. When the mind is clouded, we chase desires, hold grudges, and fight for illusion, and suffering repeats. But when understanding dawns, ignorance dissolves and wisdom is born. The path of transformation, morality, concentration, wisdom, The Buddha offered a clear threefold path for mental transformation: sila, ethical conduct, living in ways that do not harm ourselves or others; samadhi, concentration, developing stillness through meditation; panya, wisdom, seeing the impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, and non-self nature of all phenomena. These three work together like the legs of a tripod. We don't need to be perfect, only sincere and consistent. Meditation, listening to ourselves. Meditation isn't about becoming someone new, it's about returning to who we truly are, the quiet awareness behind all noise. In meditation, we watch the mind without clinging or resisting, simply observing and letting go. With each breath and moment of stillness, the mind becomes clear, and in that clarity we begin to hear the voice of wisdom, love, and life. Living awareness in daily life. Transformation doesn't only happen on the cushion. Every daily act can be a moment of awakening. Washing dishes with gentleness, walking with presence, speaking with gratitude. Every ordinary moment is a door to the extraordinary, if we step through it with full awareness. Awakening is not a distant goal. Many think enlightenment is something mystical and far away. But in Buddhism, awakening is a way of seeing and living. It's when we perceive things clearly, let go of grasping, and live with compassion. Awakening can begin with a single moment of forgiveness, a mindful hug, a loving look towards someone we once resented. When the mind is peaceful, the world becomes gentle. If we want to see blossoms, we must tend the roots. If we wish to change our lives, we must first care for the soil of our minds. When the mind is calm, the world softens. When the mind shines, darkness fades. Everything we seek, peace, love, wisdom, is not outside us. It is already within, awaiting our attention and awakening. The journey back to inner light. The path to awakening is not a place we arrive at, but the way we walk through each moment of life. Nothing is random. Everything has a reason. We began with a deep realization. Every event is the result of interdependent causes and conditions. Nothing happens by chance. Understanding this transforms us from victims of fate into conscious co-creators of our lives. We approach each experience with humility, knowing that everything carries a message. Impermanence, the nature of all life. From impermanence, we learn to release resistance and live more lightly. No longer do we seek permanence in the fleeting, nor suffer from inevitable change. We learn to love without clinging, to enjoy without attachment. Karma, actions as seeds. We don't just live for today, we are planting seeds for tomorrow. Every thought, word, and deed shapes our future. Understanding karma leads us to live with awareness and responsibility, knowing we can transform our destiny by how we choose to live now. Attachment, the root of suffering. Suffering arises when we try to hold on to what cannot be held. Letting go is not indifference. It is the wisdom to love freely, live fully, and accept change. Inner freedom begins where attachment ends. Acceptance, the art of flowing with life. Acceptance is the courage of the wise. Instead of fighting what is, we learn to act when necessary and yield when it's time, like water, soft yet persistent, like bamboo, bending but never breaking. Adversity, hidden lessons in disguise. No suffering is meaningless. In our most broken moments, the seeds of awakening quietly sprout. When we reflect, surrender, and meet pain with mindfulness, suffering becomes wisdom and breakdown becomes breakthrough. Mindfulness, returning to real life. Mindfulness is the thread that weaves through the whole path. It is the practice of presence in every breath, step, and word. Through mindfulness, we rediscover that true happiness is found in the ordinary, the here and now. Transforming the mind, the doorway to freedom. All suffering and liberation begin in the mind. When we illuminate ignorance with wisdom and embrace emotions with compassion, The mind becomes clear, loving, and free. We see the world anew with the eyes of awakening. Final reflection: it all begins within. This journey does not lead us far from ourselves. It leads us home to the inner sanctuary of clarity, compassion, and awareness. Buddhism does not promise to remove suffering. It teaches us how to walk through suffering without losing peace. We don't need to wait for perfection to be happy. Happiness arises from how we relate to each moment, with awareness, gratitude, and release. We are not searching for liberation somewhere else. Liberation is a state of mind, calm, insightful, gentle, and lovingly present. In the end, everything the Buddha taught returns to one simple truth: inner freedom is possible, and the path begins now with this mindful step you choose to take.